We live in the most densely populated era in human history, yet we are navigating a global epidemic of social isolation, with millions of us surrounded by neighbors we have never actually met. While we often blame our social habits or our screens for this loneliness, the physical layout of the city itself acts as a silent participant in our disconnection. Winston Churchill once observed that we shape our buildings, and thereafter they shape us. That principle applies equally to the layout of our streets. For thousands of years, cities were built around the physical reach of the human body. That changed in the mid-20th century, as planners began prioritizing the speed of the automobile over the presence of the pedestrian. You can see the result of this shift in massive building setbacks, sprawling parking lots, and wide asphalt corridors defining modern suburbs. These highly efficient thoroughfares effectively created non-walking zones. Instead of connecting a community, these wide, high-speed roads act as physical walls, severing the natural ties that form a neighborhood. Treating this isolation requires treating the geometry of the city itself. To repair human connection, we need to redesign the street. This comparison illustrates the first step to fixing the street, shifting the design scale. A driver moving at 40 miles per hour has a narrow, blurred visual cone. A pedestrian walking at 3 miles per hour has a detailed 180-degree field of focus. Designing for that 3-mile-per-hour pace requires what urban planners call imageability. It means filling the environment with highly sensory, textured details at eye level, like varied storefronts and interactive displays that keep the walking brain engaged. When you balance the width of the street with the height of the surrounding buildings, it creates the psychological feeling of being in a safe outdoor room, rather than feeling exposed on the edge of a highway. This human-scaled geometry naturally forces what sociologists call weak ties. These are the low-stakes interactions you have with your neighbors, with local dog walkers, and with the shopkeepers as you move through your day. Active ground floors and public plazas serve as the critical social infrastructure to host these encounters. In the 1960s, urbanist Jane Jacobs coined the term eyes on the street. She understood that higher pedestrian volumes inherently increase both the perception and reality of safety. Those frequent, low-stakes interactions, built right into a daily walking routine, form the foundational trust required for community identity and individual well-being. Beyond social connection, walkable geometry delivers massive physical benefits through stealth health. This is unintentional exercise, getting your steps in simply by navigating a vibrant, active environment to get your groceries or meet a friend. This chart tracks the biological data behind that movement. It shows the inverse correlation between a neighborhood's walkability score and the average cortisol levels of its residents, while also cutting early mortality risks by over 20%. And when we add a second layer to this chart, we see that while individual moods naturally fluctuate, community social capital metrics rise linearly with walkability, providing a structural defense against systemic isolation. To achieve these benefits on existing streets, city planners use an intervention known as the road diet. This schematic illustrates how a road diet works. It involves the deliberate removal of a car lane to reallocate that space, allowing cities to widen sidewalks, add pedestrian buffers, and install dedicated bike lanes. When San Francisco implemented a road diet on Valencia Street, the data showed dramatic reductions in fatal collisions and a massive increase in overall pedestrian volume. A road diet serves as a direct public health intervention, physically transforming a hazardous corridor into a life-extending space. This map visualizes the 15-minute city. It's a framework where daily needs, work, school, groceries, and parks fall within a short 15-minute walk or ride. It accommodates cars, but provides the freedom of multiple, viable transit options, layering walking, biking, and public transit. These pedestrian-first principles can be integrated into complex terrains. In cities with challenging topographies, alternative transit connects hillside communities directly to economic centers. Achieving this requires viewing the street differently, treating it as the city's shared living room, rather than a mere functional corridor for vehicles. The walkable street operates as a democratic space. It is designed to be equally accessible and safe, whether you are young, elderly, or disabled. Instead of relying on high-tech, autonomous vehicles to navigate the same flawed grids, effective urban planning focuses on reclaiming the human scale. By focusing on the geometry of our streets, architects demonstrate that social capital and lower stress aren't just individual feelings. They are the direct result of how we lay out our world.